Hi, I'm Dwayne Brown. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, federal regulators have released a report on what Southern California Edison knew about San Onofre's steam generators and when the company knew it. And some North County commuters will have to find a new way to get around. The Sprinter is grinding to a halt at midnight.
And I'm Peggy Pico. We'll show you the Pentagon's new military medal for drone pilots, why some veterans and Congress members call it an insult. Then a new app from a young engineer in Tijuana brings everyday objects to life. We'll show you how it works and explain about Mexico's investment in new technology.
And what do robots playing Frisbee have to do with inspiring a new generation of innovators? We'll show you. Coming up, KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
Hello and good evening. Thanks for joining us. Federal regulators have released a long-awaited report about the steam generators at the San Onofre nuclear plant. It confirms what two lawmakers recently announced. The plant's operator was aware of design flaws in those generators before they were installed. KPBS investigative reporter Amitha Sharma is here with the story. Amitha, tell us about the report.
Well, Dwayne, it comes from Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. It shows Edison and Mitsubishi's joint team of experts knew the steam generators could produce what's called void fraction, and that would lead to thinning of the tubes inside the steam generators. The report indicates Edison considered making changes before installing them, but it shows Edison believed the changes carried unacceptable consequences, including a licensing amendment process with federal regulators. Edison installed the new generators in 2010 and 2011 without the fixes. A thinning tube ruptured last year at San Onofre, causing a radiation leak. The plant has been closed ever since.
And what kind of a reaction are we getting from people about this report?
Well, Dwayne, Damon Moglen of the environmental group Friends of the Earth called the report a bombshell. He said, quote, "It proves conclusively that Edison was aware of these really troubling problems all the way back in 2005, and rather than doing what they needed to guarantee safety, they went ahead and disregarded the changes." Edison did not immediately respond to a request for comment, but in the past, the company has said it would never and did not install steam generators that it believed would not perform safely. The company wants to restart the plant at reduced capacity. California Senator Barbara Boxer says the Nuclear Regulatory Commission should investigate whether Edison fully complied with its legal obligations at San Onofre before deciding whether it should reopen. The NRC would only say the probe is ongoing.
And more hearings are coming up. KPBS investigative reporter Amitha Sharma. Thanks.
That's true.
You can find all of our coverage about the San Onofre nuclear plant online at kpbs.org/San Onofre.
It's just a hop, sprint, and a jump.
There won't be any hopping, sprinting, or jumping on the Sprinter rail line in the North County. iNews Source reporter Brad Racino has been following this story. He's in the news center. So, Brad, what's going on with the Sprinter tonight?
Well, the California Public Utilities Commission performed an inspection last week that revealed some worn-out brake rotors on the trains. And the executive director of North County Transit, Matt Tucker, told me yesterday that it's not a major issue. It's similar to a car's brakes having some wear and tear, but that his staff was looking into it. And then last night, the district performed some tests on 2 of the trains and decided, I guess as a result, to shut the whole thing down, the whole line, for the next 2 months, possibly 4 months. And it's going to take a long time to get the parts from Germany. Here's more from their news conference this afternoon.
This is an event that is embarrassing, is challenging, is difficult. We don't understand exactly how we got here, but we're going to figure that out. But our priority is our customers and the riding public and safety.
Yeah, so speaking of customers, so what's going to happen with the daily commuters while they're repairing the trains?
North County Transit announced a bus service that'll operate at 30-minute intervals throughout the weekend. They're running between Oceanside and Escondido, and it'll stop at the Vista Transit Center, Palomar College, and Cal State San Marcos. The district says they're finalizing the details on the bus services that are scheduled to begin Monday, and they're encouraging the public to monitor the NCTD website for more information about that.
And so will we. iNewsSource reporter Brad Racino. California's Coastal Commission said no today to a Navy program for explosives and sonar training. Critics say the program was dangerous for marine mammals. The Navy says the threat wasn't serious, but commissioners say the Navy didn't have enough proof. The Navy could seek mediation or simply go forward with the training anyway. It's done so before, and the Commission sued to stop it. The Navy won the previous case. The Pentagon has proposed a new military medal to be awarded to pilots of drone aircraft in combat, but as Peggy Pico explains tonight, there's controversy brewing over the status of the medal.
The new Distinguished Warfare Medal to honor pilots of drone aircraft ranks higher than a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart in the medal hierarchy, and this has angered both combat veterans and some members of Congress. Here with further details is Rick Rogers, blogger and creator of Military Headline News. Rick, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Who came up with this idea for this new medal and why?
Well, former Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta, he announced the new medal on February 13th. He is subsequently retired. The reason behind it is the warfare has changed quite a bit over time. More and more cyber, being able to protect our computers has gained importance.
As you see it, there's been quite a backlash after this announcement a few weeks ago. What is at issue here?
What's at issue is the meritocracy of the medal. Right now it ranks above the Bronze Star and also the Purple Heart, and that has many veterans groups very upset, as well as members of Congress.
And remind us what the Bronze Star is for and what the Purple Heart is for, so that people can kind of see why there's some distinction going on.
Sure. The Bronze Star is a combat medal, meaning you have to be in a theater, a combat theater, to get it. And of course, a Purple Heart is being killed or wounded in combat.
So these are boots on the ground, or you were actually in combat. But this distinguished medal, these are people. Where are they operating these drones from?
Well, they can be thousands and thousands of miles away. I understand that there is a place in an air base in Las Vegas where they often fly them from. So they don't even have to be in the same country or even on the same continent.
And they're typically not, my understanding is they're typically not, close by to Canada. What are some of our local Congress members, Darrell Issa, Susan Davis, what are they saying about this?
I know that Susan Davis recently co-wrote an article with another congressman in which she said that she has grave doubts about whether this medal should be ranked above the Distinguished Warfare Medal, should be ranked above the Bronze Star. Recently, Mr. Duncan Hunter
Jr., right. He released a statement yesterday.
He released a statement the other day, essentially laying out why he doesn't think that it should be on the same par as the Bronze Star.
Okay. And do you want to read a quote from him? Did you want to do that?
Let me see here.
We can come back to it while you're looking for that. One question that people would ask is, how difficult are these drones to operate? Is this on the same level? Would it be on the same level as let's say, a jet fighter pilot who relies on computers?
I don't know that I've never been in one of the operations centers, so I don't know. But I from what I've seen, I don't think that for the drone pilots they would have the same stresses on their bodies as someone who's pulling G's in a real combat jet.
So there may be some issue as far as the actual risk involved.
No doubt there's an issue so far as risk is concerned. I don't think that the risk of someone who is in line to get this Distinguished Warfare Medal is anywhere close to those on the line so far as a Bronze Star.
Tell us about this petition. There's a petition that you signed for the White House to get this ranking. Nobody's saying take away this medal, but they want the ranking, basically, for lack of a better word, changed. Tell us about the petition and where it stands now.
Well, not long after Secretary Leon Panetta announced this medal on February 13th, a person went to the White House website and decided that they needed a petition drive to get the Distinguished Warfare Medal ranked below the Bronze Star and also the Purple Heart in merit. So they want 100,000 people to sign up for this by March 16th. So far, there's 17,800 and some. So I don't think that they're going to reach their 100,000 goal.
Okay, we're going to have to end it there, but people can read Duncan Hunter's statement on our website. Military blogger Rick Roger, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Arizona Senator John McCain is demanding information about undocumented immigrants released from detention. He says it's possible some have been convicted of serious crimes. Homeland Security says hundreds of low-risk immigrants were recently released because of budget cuts. McCain wants to know how agents chose who to release and who to keep. Today in New York, Osama bin Laden's son-in-law pleaded not guilty to plotting against Americans before and after the September 11th attacks. Suleiman Abu Ghath was al-Qaeda's top spokesman after the attacks. A state funeral today in Caracas for Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez. It drew leaders and dignitaries from around the world. The Reverend Jesse Jackson was one of the speakers calling for improved relations between the U.S. and Venezuela. On Tuesday, cardinals of the Roman Catholic Church will begin their conclave to choose the next pope. They set the date after another day of meetings at the Vatican. U.S. Cardinal Timothy Dolan says some names have come up, but he says the one that comes up most often is that of Jesus Christ. Now, Dolan is considered a papal contender. There are no clear front runners for the papacy, but many names have been mentioned since Benedict XVI announced his retirement last month. Matt Friedman of the Associated Press has some of those names.
With the cardinals gathered, these are the urns they will use to vote for a new pope. In a conclave unlike any other in the last 6 centuries, the cardinals will choose Pope Benedict's successor while he is still alive.
I cannot predict what is going to happen.
With no clear frontrunner, the biggest question, will they pick a European pope or make history by choosing a pontiff from another continent? At least 2 Italians fit the bill. The Archbishop of Milan, Angelo Scola, a man close to Benedict, who leads the most important archdiocese in Italy.
Cardinal Scola is an intellectual, very much in line with Pope Benedict and John Paul II. He is also considered a good pastor.
There's also Cardinal Gianfranco Ravasi. He's an intellectual heavyweight who leads the Vatican's culture office. Or could it be Cardinal Christoph Schoenborn from neighboring Austria, a former theology student of Benedict's, but some say he's far too liberal for today's College of Cardinals. There are several contenders from Latin America, home to 40% of the world's 1.2 billion Catholics. Some point to Honduran Cardinal Oscar Andres Rodriguez Maradiaga, but he may be considered far too liberal. Cardinal Leonardo Sandri of Argentina gained fame for acting as the voice of an ailing Pope John Paul II. Cardinal Odilo Pedro Scherer could be Brazil's best hope. He embraces social media to reach believers, but remains true to the conservative Roman Catholic line.
Cardinal Scherer is a man of humble origins. He actually recalls growing up in a place in Brazil where they could only celebrate Mass once a month because the priest could only come once a month.
As African congregations swell, Cardinal Peter Kodo Apla Turkson of Ghana is a contender, but has been prone to gaffes. A compromise could be French-Canadian Cardinal Marc Ouellet. He's earned respect at the Vatican by vetting the world's bishops.
I don't see myself at this level, not at all.
As Catholics wait for the white smoke that signals a new pope, Vatican watchers expect he will bring gradual change rather than major transformation. Matt Friedman, Associated Press.
The U.S. unemployment rate dropped in January to 7.7%. California's data will be released on March 29th. Stock prices rose after the national report. Here's a look at the numbers. A jury awarded more than $8 million to a California man in a lawsuit over a defective hip implant. It's the first of thousands of cases by patients who say the implants left them with crippling problems or needing new surgery. The implants have been recalled. The lawyer for a former Acorn employee says a $100,000 settlement is a small consolation for trouble created by hidden camera video. Juan Carlos Vera was secretly taped at Acorn's National City office by a conservative activist who claimed he was looking for federal money to set up a prostitution ring. Investigators found the tape was selectively edited. Vera's lawyer says it's damaged his client's reputation and cost him his job. Acorn disbanded in the uproar over this and similar videos. There's a growing ruckus tonight over new rules about what you can bring on an airline. We told you about the new guidelines a few days ago. They allow small folding knives, souvenir bats, even golf clubs. The Transportation Safety Administration says these items don't pose a real threat, but there's a growing list of opponents to the new rules, including flight attendants, pilots, insurance companies, and now the head of Delta Airlines, who says there are better ways to streamline checkpoint security. A new app created by a young engineer in Tijuana brings still objects to life. Peggy Pico shows us how it works and why the Mexican government is invested in it.
The Mexican government hopes to give Silicon Valley a run for its money, and they're off to a good start. An astounding new app built by a 20-year-old engineer in Tijuana could redefine how we interact with everyday objects. Let's take a look. KPBS Fronteras reporter John Rossman joins us with more on this app. But John, that looked pretty spectacular. Break it down for us simply about what this app really does.
Right, so what this app actually does is just recognizes an object. So in this example, we saw the phone floating over a piece of paper, and then it comes to life. In the back end of it, what it's doing is it recognizes the piece of paper. So it kind of goes over the piece of paper, recognizes it, it goes to a website where an animation plays, and then it just kind of goes.
So it makes it move, it makes it come alive that way. Tell us more about that inventor we saw at the beginning.
Right, so his name is David Figueroa, and he's a 20-year-old engineer out of Tijuana. And he's kind of emblematic of this kind of big internet buzz that is like Tijuana, the new tech mecca. And he works out of the Bit Center, which is kind of another place that the Mexican government funds. And so,
that Bit Center, tell us about that. That's in Tijuana, and it's a huge, not only a huge building, but a huge investment.
Right. So the Bit Center is kind of this really big open space in the middle of downtown Tijuana. And the Mexican government wanted to create a place where engineers and companies could kind of come and innovate together. And it's not really like an incubation place where you're starting your company. It's for already established companies. And when they were looking at centers, they went all over Mexico, like Guadalajara, Mexico City, and they also went to like Palo Alto, Google's headquarters, to kind of see what the best environment would look like. And so the reason they chose Tijuana versus somewhere like Guadalajara or Mexico City is because it's so close to the border. And, you know, there's a lot of people are bilingual, and there's just more of an ability to use the inventions that are created in Tijuana and then across the border.
Exactly, across the border. Now, there's a lot of talent and innovation going on in Tijuana, not just at the Bit Center. Tell us about one in regards to these do-it-yourself drones, a little bit more practical than the application we just saw.
Right. So earlier this year, I interviewed a company called 3D Robotics, and what they make are drones. And so when we hear drones, we think of these warplanes that drop missiles. But what they're doing is they're creating these kind of these small drones that you can fly around and take pictures. And it's really what they hope to be.
Why do they call it do-it-yourself drones?
Well, because you can either build them, like buy them built, or you can buy them and build them yourself.
Like a kit.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so the big reason why it's kind of do it yourself is because they want the hobbyist market to take it over and reinvent it. And they want it to be really open, so when someone creates this drone, it can become something like a crop duster, you know?
And that came from Tijuana.
Right, well, it started by two people, and the engineer, is actually a 26-year-old kid from Tijuana.
Okay, all right, John Rossman, we are out of time. Thanks so much. Folks can read the rest of this story on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks again.
Yeah, no problem.
With the U.S. falling behind our foreign competitors in science, technology, and engineering, experts say there's no time more crucial to attract young students to the fields. That's where the annual first robotics competition comes in at the Valley View Casino Center, better known as the Sports Arena.
for all the judges. They like say the game and our team and some of our groups.
A little swag for industry judges at the 7th Annual Robotics Competition in San Diego, where 60 teams, half from San Diego, have come to play and compete in what looks like a cross between Frisbee and pyramid climbing with a 100-pound-plus robot. This is all about inspiring our next generation of innovators.
Different people have different strengths and weaknesses, and we all work together, and the upperclassmen all teach the younger classmen everything that they know, and they're super supportive and super great to all of us.
The biggest thing for me is that it's shown me what I want to do with the rest of my life.
And for me, it's also special because, like, I have a programming class at school, but that's all just hard-coded in the computer. But here you see how the code actually works on a robot, and you can see, like, wow, these are real-life applications of what we're learning in school.
The organizers of this event are trying to make being a geek cool, and they've created a sports-like atmosphere to pump up the competition.
The match begins with a 15-second period where robots operate independently. Each disc scored is worth additional points. For the remainder of the 2-minute match, drivers control robots remotely and try to score as many discs as possible. The match ends with the bots trying to climb a pyramid. The higher up, the more points they get. And every team works with professional mentors to design and build a robot for the competition. The bigger goal, though, is to inspire these kids to choose a career where they're almost guaranteed a high-paying job to fill the growing gap in the science, tech, and engineering fields. Now, the championship will be held in St. Louis at the end of April with $16 million in scholarships up for grabs.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next News Hour, the latest jobs numbers, older workers in academia, plus David Brooks and Ruth Marcus. That's Friday on the PBS News Hour.
San Diego Latino Film Festival opened its 20th season last night. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando was there and shows us the festival's new screening venue.
Thank you very much for all your support, and thanks for all the 20 years. We couldn't do without you.
Last night, the San Diego Latino Film Festival kicked off its 20th season at the Digiplex Mission Valley Cinemas with a sold-out showing of Philly Brown. Actor Lou Diamond Phillips was in attendance, as were other cast and crew members from the film. Artists had booths in the crowded lobby, and a band played in the small lounge. It was a good opening night that generated the kind of buzz you can only get at a film festival.
Well, it's busy. We're just about to start the film Philly Brown, which Lou Diamond Phillips is here.
I'm very, very proud to be sharing Philly Brown with you here tonight because this is a grassroots movement. You are the front line of people who will go out there and tell everyone else how beautiful this film is.
People are excited to be here, and we're excited to be celebrating 20 years and, have people and enjoy this wonderful event.
Earlier in the day, Ethan Von Tilo was at the Media Arts Center San Diego's Digital Gym, where the festival is opening a new screening venue.
Well, this is our new space. The Media Arts Center San Diego has a new community space in the North Park area called the Digital Gym. And one part of the new space is the new 49-seat cinema, which is going to be housing some of the films from this year's 20th anniversary San Diego Latino Film Festival. So this location will be a new location for the film festival. So in addition to the Digiplex at Hazard Center in Mission Valley, we're also going to be screening films every night, March 7th or 17th, here at the new cinema at the Digital Gym. And also, it's a small, intimate space, so we hope it's a space that people afterwards dialogue about the films, and there's introductions before the films. You can have some coffee or some tea and talk about the films afterwards.
And even after the festival ends, this micro cinema will continue to show movies every week. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
San Diego Latino Film Festival continues through March 17th. For schedule, go to sdlatinofilm.com.
In tonight's public square, it seems a lot of San Diegans are not too happy about the crackdown on jaywalking. Police say they are simply trying to reduce the number of pedestrians hit by cars. They ran a jaywalker sweep yesterday, and they're planning to do more. We got a lot of comments on our KPBS website complaining about it. Derek asked, when will the police start conducting crosswalk stings to catch motorists who violate the right-of-way of pedestrians? And VBSD says, wish they would spend as much time with speeding cars through Balboa Park and our neighborhood streets. While McLania tells us it's not about safety, it's about revenue, pure and simple. But Ben72 had this observation: one would think the risk of being killed would be incentive enough to prevent jaywalking. What do you think about jaywalkers and the crackdown, or any other story on KPBS? Well, you can tell us by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, or just email us at publicsquare@kpbs.org.
And a footnote on the jaywalking story. Police actually wrote 328 tickets in yesterday's sweep. The average fine, $100. Well, we've got one more day of rain around most of San Diego. By Sunday, we should see some clearing and temperatures will start warming up. Still cool in the mountains and cold at night, dry and mild in the desert. Temperatures climbing into the 80s by Monday. You can find tonight's stories and download the KPBS app all on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. You have a great weekend.